1 second so that we can make sure we're on all of our platforms. Welcome once again to Tuesday Talks, everyone. We should be on a couple of other platforms. So if you're here on Zoom, welcome. We're seeing a few more people log in, so we'll give them a second to come. 1 second so that we can make sure. And we are also on YouTube. If you need Korean, you should be on YouTube. And if you need Chinese, then you should be on Xiaotong. So I will send those links out so that people know where to go on the chat. And just a few nuts and bolts like usual for Tuesday Talks. We are going to talk about a few things. We would love to answer questions. We're going to have a good time of Q&A at the end. So if you think of something while we're talking, go ahead and start typing them into the Q&A box. That way we can try to fold it into our conversation if it works, or we can kind of consolidate so that we can cover as much as we can. And let's see. As people log in, let me just go ahead and go. Once again, this is where you go to the other platforms. And then we just want to say a congratulations to everybody who sent their emails in last week. And we will play Spot Mr. View again. So keep your eye out in my window here for Mr. View and take a screenshot and email us. The first 3 people get a t-shirt. And as always, we want to just take a moment to thank all of our sponsor schools. We just want to thank you so much for getting the word out. Tuesday Talks could not happen without your support. So thank you very much for continuing to share with your friends and your counselors, with your students, your parents, families. This is really great. And we love seeing all of you on these talks every week. So I am delighted today to have 3 wonderful guests who woke up super early to be with us today from Northern California. And we're going to talk a little bit about what Northern California is like. Many of us on this call have never been. And the schools, each of the institutions will talk very briefly about what their schools are about. But we're really going to spend most of the time today talking about fit. And a lot of you have heard this word before, but it is always kind of an enigma for many of us. What does fit actually mean? So we're going to talk about fit and how to define fit for you. And we're even going to have some like tangible ways to like put a chart together and look at it. And for most Tuesday Talks, there's a little bit of homework. So, so thank you so much for coming. And without further ado, I'm going to let our guests introduce themselves.
Hello, my name is Nicole Cooper, and I'm here very excited. I'm from Stanford University, and we're going to quickly go over just the Bay Area, and then the other 2 guests will also introduce themselves as well. So thank you for that great introduction. We're excited to be here early morning, even if it is very early for us. As you can kind of see, this is the Bay Area, which is Northern California. We have a nice little map for you guys to kind of see the different areas of what is considered the Bay. You can see a tiny little teal area where it says where it's for San Francisco. That's where San Francisco is located, just at the very tip there. And then below there, you see San Mateo County, where you have kind of near San Jose, you have Stanford, you have Santa Clara University, and then over across Alameda is where Berkeley is located, UC Berkeley. And then there's just a lot of different pieces of Northern California that we have. We have Marin, which is great for outdoor exploring. You have the beaches. There's some popular beaches along there as well. And then up to the north, we also have Sonoma and Napa, which are famous for their wine areas. The Pacific Ocean is to the west. And then we also have the Sierra Nevada mountains to the east, where if you go farther out, there's also Lake Tahoe. So just to kind of get a sense of where we are, which is really helpful if you're thinking about fit and wanting to kind of get a sense of where just in general we're all located. A little bit more is the general East Bay, North Bay, San Francisco, South Bay area has a population of about 7.7 million, and there are about 3,000 companies in the general area, whether they're the big companies like Google and Facebook that you've heard of, or some smaller companies that are startups that you might not ever heard of that also might be a factor in your fit, because there are so many different options that you can look into as you get into internships and look farther into maybe where your career is going to land afterwards. So nice little tidbits about the Bay Area there. And then we'll go into weather, which we'll find on the next slide. So put together a nice little thing for you to kind of understand what weather looks like in the Bay. It's fairly temperate. In the summer, you see June and August is very warm and dry. We're not going to get a whole lot of rain. It's great for lake days or for beach days, and kind of some of those areas I talked about. Lake Tahoe is really popular for students to go to. And then we have the fall, which is about from September to November. It's a little bit more cool and dry. You can have some fun fall hikes at Muir Woods, which is a national park just located north of San Francisco. Fun little day trip for you all, or snowshoeing at Yosemite during the wintertime. It tends to be a little bit rainy and cold, but we do get snow in the mountains for some of you who are looking for the snow. It's not really a lot of snow in the Bay, but that's okay, because you can just drive a couple hours and then you'll be able to enjoy some snow time. And that lasts about from December to February. And then summer is such a beautiful time. We have lots of flowers, or sorry, spring. Spring is just so pretty, flowers everywhere. It's very purple, very pink. And something that is always fun is visiting the botanical gardens and the Golden Gate Park in San Francisco, or really all along the Bay. There's so many different hikes that you could go on if you like those. It tends to be rainy sometimes and a little cool and warm depending on the day. But as I said, fairly temperate, but you have some little highs and some lows and a lot of different activities that you could take advantage of in this area. The last little bit on the next slide is a fun little thing that I wanted to show you. Just in Northern California itself, Northern California is a large area. We do have 5 national parks, 19 state parks, and over 100 hiking trails, which I've kind of spoken to you about. Just even next to like San Francisco and San Jose and all of our institutions, you can find a hike basically just by searching it on Google or other apps that we use. And there's also over 300 beaches. So you have a lot of different opportunities to explore the outdoors, which is a really famous or fun aspect of Northern California. Is it's just known for the very many different landscapes that you could take advantage of. So those are fun pieces that we just really love about Northern California, that has so much to offer for you to explore and get to know so much and be outdoors to really get yourself being active. Okay, and I'm just going to do a short little introduction of Stanford. As I said, my name is Nicole Cooper. I'm an admissions officer here, and really want to share that Stanford has 3 significant aspects that contribute to the Stanford experience. We call these academic freedom, a diverse community, and a collaborative culture. Academic freedom really empowers you to study the academic subjects important to you. I say this because Stanford classes are provided on a 3-month basis, which really allows you to take 50% more classes than maybe if you were on a semester-based program, because we do have a quarter system. Again, relating that back to fit and what a quarter system is something you'd want to look into the future. Course offerings at Stanford are not the only tailored aspect of a Stanford education. We do offer 24 interdisciplinary majors, such as computer science and linguistics, and you can major in precise fields where you really want to make an impact in life. In the flexibility that Stanford offers, you can also receive an education that focuses on you as a student. We have world-class faculty that will give you attention you deserve throughout the classes in a much smaller class to student ratio. The second offering that I'd like to highlight is our diverse community. It really helps you discover the aspects of your life that are important to you specifically. Stanford provides the creative competence to enable you to excel while working together to impact your community. This has helped alumni to succeed in areas such as food, entertainment, technology, government, politics, business, nonprofits, and so much more. the last piece I'd like to touch on is how we have such a collaborative community here. Virtually every Stanford student lives on campus with housing guaranteed to them all 4 years. And really living closely together allows you to meet so many students, which helps you impact your community, your career, and the world in a positive way. There are 220,000 Stanford alumni, and they work together, and we all work together on campus to support undergraduates through mentoring, internships, and hiring them to work at organizations around the world. Really, no matter what you do with a Stanford degree, we do believe that you'll be equipped to make a positive impact, not only in your career, but also as a citizen and community mentor. And all those pieces together can really drive you there. Thank you. And so the next up will be my colleagues that will introduce their institutions.
Thanks, Nicole. My name is Becky Conowitz, and I work at Santa Clara University, like Nicole, an admission counselor. Well-traveled through probably all of the world that you all are tuning into. So thank you for being here tonight, this afternoon, this morning. Santa Clara is down the street from Stanford. So we're in what you would call the South Bay with just over 5,500 students. We are a Jesuit Catholic institution, though most students are not Catholic, but the values are really, really important to the university. And so as we think about serving our students and setting them out to be successful alumni and community members, what we're really trying to incorporate is this idea of asking challenging questions to change the world. So whether that is asking who is not at the table, who are we forgetting, who's voiceless, what about the environment? That comes out in the style of teaching and the style of living and learning on campus. So we do have a 2-year residential requirement for our undergraduate students. The average class size is about 24, 26 students. So if you're somebody who wants to participate in those class discussions with those difficult questions, if you want to be a part of research, you want to attend a conference with a faculty member and present, those are going to be the opportunities that you have on our campus. We also are a very active campus. Students enjoy the sunshine, the weather that we spoke about the Bay Area, the hiking, the clubs, the athletic programs that are on campus. So students are really invested, and that's what keeps them here learning, engaging in the Bay Area. Upon graduation, students are doing a little bit of everything. They might have studied in our School of Engineering or a School of Business or the College of Arts and Sciences. But when they head out, they're taking that degree and they're putting it and applying it to either graduate school, to service programs, or into employment. And they are very successful, often because they have started with an internship at Santa Clara. And those internship programs, whether they are co-ops in the School of Engineering or a summer internship or through the academic year, because of our location, sometimes they can have an internship with only a quick 10-minute bike ride away to a company to continue to work. And so have that real life experience. But the number one thing that employers always tell us that they enjoy about Santa Clara students as an intern or as a young staff member is that they really are hardworking, humble, and willing to ask those questions to help a company, help an organization move forward. And so that gives us great, I guess, affirmation that their 4-year experience on our campus is working. Like Stanford, very collaborative. I think some families and students think that because we're in Silicon Valley, that it's a very competitive environment on our campuses. And I would argue it's the complete opposite. When you bring together really smart, diverse perspectives with faculty who really care, it actually creates a very collaborative environment. So I'm gonna pass you up the bay.
Thank you, Becky, and thank you everybody for joining us. My name is Maria Lasconzavala. I'm an assistant director working for the University of California, Berkeley. Now, Berkeley is a public institution. We are the first campus that was established back in 1868 and the very first one within the UC campuses and the UC system. We're located in a very good area, the wonderful Bay Area, close to the city of San Francisco. Francisco, a couple of minutes away from the Silicon Valley, which is a wonderful location for our students to have opportunities for internships, job opportunities, which later on, upon graduation, may turn into job offers, which is giving the students a good opportunity for them to excel upon graduations as well. UC Berkeley is a little bit larger than the other two institutions we're introducing here. Our population of students, our class size is about 32,000 students, with 17% of those being international students. We are very diverse in our student population, and most of our students, about 85%, are being admitted from public institutions. So that's a good thing for all of us. We have more than 120 countries represented within the student population, and within them, 60 plus languages being spoken. So that gives us a good review of the population of students, very diverse, in which a lot of our students come in with a lot of ideals, with their own cultural values, which really make the experience within the classroom to be a lot more challenging and a lot more affordable for our students as well. UC Berkeley is known to be a research institution. We're very high valued in the courses that we teach. We are known for the technological and science advances within a couple of fields. Our most competitive majors within the university, of course, is the College of Engineering, the High School of Business, but we offer a lot of diverse majors and academic programs for our students as well, within our 5 different colleges and the High School of Business. We have a couple of options for our students to get a dual degree in combination with the different colleges at the institution. So it's a lot of opportunities for students to really make the best out of all their experiences within the campus itself. Our students are very much engaged in their activities within the campus and outside the campus. We value leadership and participation very highly. So our students are really students who are willing to dedicate themselves into assisting the community and assisting those in need. We do have a very good career center, which would help and work very closely with our students to help you get that internship that you're looking for so that you can get the experience desired to be able to excel within your academics. We'll get a little bit more in detail about what Berkeley really looks for and what we consider to be a good fit for the university in the next couple of slides.
Thanks, Maria. So we wanted to have some activity. So we hope in the chat you would answer, what does a best university fit mean to you? So thinking about your fit, what does that mean to you? So if you could respond in the chat, that would help us to see what some of your ideas are. Cultural fit, that's a great one. Yeah, making sure you have something there that's you want to study. Perfect. Match for both sides. So both a match, the student is a good fit for the university and the university is a good fit for the student. Yeah. Concept of style, the pedagogy concept, like it, great. The area and the people, okay. These are all great ideas around fit. If we go to the next slide, we have another question for you to think about in the chat. So why do you think highly selective institutions value fit in the admission process? So as you're thinking about the fit, the climate, the academic programs, why do you think we value fit in our process? You can answer in the chat we can see what you all believe, why we value it. About filling potential, right? If students don't find the best fit, they can't achieve their best potential. It brings out the best in students. I love it. That's so true. They're able to improve and grow. Excellent. Be confident. To overcome academic stress. Yes, if it's a good fit, you will overcome academic stress. Great. Perfect. Oh, you guys are great in the chat. Well, I'm going to pass it off to my colleague Maria to talk a little bit about fit. But it sounds like you guys have a great handle on it.
Yes, you guys have given us very good responses, and it's a good thing that we're going to be talking about this, because when you submit the application to the universities of your choice, of course you're submitting them to different universities with the hope that you're going to get accepted and admitted into it. But as a person who is reviewing the applications for the student, it is important whenever we're doing that revision to look for the fit, to see how good and how well students are fitting into the type of academic programs that we offer in the institution. And the reason for that is not really to discard the fact that you are wonderful prospects to the universities, is to make sure that you are going to be succeeding in the academic program that you're choosing. We want to make sure that you get admitted into the university, take advantage of the resources that we offer, and get the best academic program possible so that you can achieve the goals that you are wanting to achieve. And in order to do that, we need to see whether or not you as an applicant will be a good fit to the type of academics that we offer at the institutions. And how do we do that? Well, we look at the different factors, not just on the application that you're submitting, but also on what the university offers to you. So it's important that when you are defining fit and you're selecting the different institutions that you're going to be applying to, you consider the location. Where is the school located? Am I going to be doing okay in the mountains? Am I going to be doing okay if I'm close to the valley? Am I looking for something that is close to the ocean? Consider all the location, and also consider the fact as to where these universities are located and how close are they located to opportunities that you will be taking. For instance, are these universities close to places and companies that will give you a good internship? Are you going to be able to get that job experience that you're looking for, so that when you do graduate, you're going to be available to find the job that you're looking for? Also look at the university size. We have 3 different institutions right here, very different in prospects and very different in sizes too. So are you used to being in a small setting? Do you want to look, or would you like to attend classes in which you have a closer connection with the instructors because the classes are smaller? Or are you looking for that experience in which you're going to be getting larger classes with lecture halls, in which you're going to be having a lot of different students in it? So consider that as well. Also take a look at the affordability of the institutions. What kinds of funding does the university offer to you? Are they offering scholarships? Are you going to be having the opportunity to cover for all of the expenses? The more you find out about the institutions you're applying to, the better chances and the better choices you will have at the time that you do get admitted, of selecting the institution that will best fit the program that you're looking for and the experience that you want to have in your higher education. Student life is also very important. What type of activities do the students have on these particular campuses? What are the students supposed to do? What are the opportunities of you connecting not just with the community, but with outside resources from these institutions? All of that information would really give you an idea as to how competitive and how accessible the universities can be for you. Also, take a look at the resources and the research opportunities that you're going to get. Is the institution that you're applying to going to give you the opportunity for you to have that internship that you're looking for? Are you going to be able to get the research that you want to do prior to you graduating from these institutions? Because remember, the more opportunities you have of doing research and connecting and having that internship, the better chances you're going to have to later on turn that into a possible career choice or career opportunity, which can be very helpful at the time that you graduate. And lastly, take a look to see whether or not the institutions have a career placement for you. Do they have a career center? Do they have a specific offer within the university that can help you locate that internship that you're looking for, or to get that experience that you want out of your academic programs? It's important for you to find and look at all of these factors so that when you do get admitted, if you get granted admissions to the institutions, you make the best decision and the selection that will give you the best academic experience that you're looking for in your career.
Great. That was such a great breakdown of the many different aspects of what you should be asking yourself, of what fit is, what you're looking for from an institution. And so going a little bit step further, I'm actually going to help you a little bit about what those questions are. So Maria just broke down maybe what the different aspects are fit, such as location or student life. And so here we have it broken down into understanding your personal learning style. These might be some good questions of what you're looking for. Maybe what size class do you prefer? Do you know that yet? Have you asked yourself, do you want a big class? Do you want to be in a smaller class? What kind of environment do you learn in? You can also ask yourself, is access to professors and lecturers important to you? Are you looking to have a little bit more one-on-one interaction with your professors? How resourceful are you in finding the help and opportunities you need? Are you looking for a larger institution where you aren't and maybe necessarily as worried as having resources right next door to you? Are you seeking those out, or are you someone that needs a little bit more help in finding those resources? Do I learn best in discussion-based classes or lecture-based? This is really important because some institutions might have more discussion-based classes, and you can find this on their websites or by talking to the current students, just really understanding how it is for you that you learn best. And that's a good question to ask yourself. Maybe you don't know that yet. Maybe it requires some reflecting to kind of see what classes you are currently taking and where you do best. Then how important is hands-on learning or internships or co-op based opportunities? Institutions might have more chances for summer internships, or they might have semesters where you can have internships. And so these are all aspects to really ask yourself what it is that you're looking for. I myself am someone who learns hands-on, and so I have always valued that opportunity to really dig deep and use my hands or work in an internship rather than just being in the classroom. Whereas I have some friends who really get so much out of that classroom aspect. So trying to really figure out what it is that you're looking for out of your learning style will really help set you up for your future career as well. And then other questions, social opportunities. Attending university is a experience, and it is part of your social life. Your social life will help support you through your academics and through your career pursuits and everything else that you are. So these are really important questions for you to be asking as well. So are you searching for a wide range of student organizations and clubs? Ask yourself that. Maybe what clubs are you looking for? Do these institutions that you are currently looking at have the clubs that you are interested in? Are you searching for a residential community? Are you wanting to live off campus? That's also an important aspect, because even within our three institutions, we have very different residential opportunities available. What about sense of belonging? Are you someone who really wants that big spirit, that big sense of belonging, to be a part of an institution that has that camaraderie of larger groups, or maybe a smaller private institution where you have a smaller tight-knit group that you feel more belonging? So where do you get that, where you feel that you belong? What about school spirit? Some institutions are really heavy on the school spirit, maybe not, and you can talk to students and really understand where that is as well. Off-campus social life. Some places are very social in their cities. They have towns or urban areas that you're able to go out at night or go explore in the cities, or maybe that's not important to you. We also have 4 seasons. The Bay Area doesn't quite have the 4 seasons. Some of you might be looking for snow or fall weather. And that's really important to ask yourself, because you're gonna be there for 4 years. And so that's another question, like, what do I want out of the location that I'm going to be in? Or maybe sun year round. So you're also looking for urban, suburban, or rural setting. Some of you might be really interested in maybe finding an institution that is a little bit more rural, a smaller town, to get that experience. Or maybe you are looking for a very large city. There's institutions that are offered in all of these different settings. And those are really important questions to ask yourself. You might not know that answer yet, but ask yourself and figure out what it is that you're looking for. And another important thing to really think about is affordability in your surrounding area important. And I say this because there are different cities. If you're living in an urban setting, the affordability in that city might not be as affordable as if you're living in a suburban or rural setting. And that might be something you need to ask yourself as well. So where you're living, the social opportunities, your personal learning style, and all of the different aspects like career placement, just write these questions down and ask yourself and really get to know what it is that you're looking for. Because if you ask those questions, then you'll be able to link those to the fit of the institution. And then I think on the next slide, we have these questions. So we're taking the questions that I kind of just walked you through, and we're going to take them piece by piece. And so personal learning style. If you're someone, you ask the question, what size class do you prefer? And you might have to think about this. Stanford classes, about 60% of the classes have 20 students or less, 60 to 70% of the classes. And so you might ask yourself, okay, what size class do you prefer? I prefer small. Is that small to you? Or are you looking for a larger class? And so if your answer is small, you're going to really want to research this and look at the institution. So now that you know that you like a small class, how does that help you? Well, do the research. So the average class size, you could search on the website, you could search on Google, you could ask other students what the average class size or largest is, or what the smallest classes are. So for example, at Stanford, you can ask, okay, what is your largest class? And a student might say, oh, my largest class has 50 students. Or they might say, my smallest class has 10 students. This will help give you a little bit of information of how that relates to what you are looking for in your class sizes. You can also look into your program. So if you're interested in engineering, how does that change from year to year? Is your first year classes a little bit bigger, or do they get a little bit smaller as the years go on? And really just taking these questions and doing the research, asking the students, looking on the web pages, reaching out to your admissions counselors to really figure out where this information is and to answer those questions, which is the really important next step. And then we'll go through the next, which is social opportunities.
Yeah, thanks, Nicole. And I think a great example for social opportunities is to really look for what organizations you're looking for. And so let's say your answer is sports. If you went to Santa Clara's website right now, you'd see that we are Division I national champions for women's soccer. And so you would say, oh, this is a soccer or football school. We do not have American football. So you'll see all the attention on soccer. But more importantly, if you're doing this research because you are interested in athletics at Santa Clara, you'd probably start to find out more about not only our 28 Division I athletic programs, but you'll also see our intramurals, our athletic facilities for students, whether they want to take swimming in the morning or they want to take an aerobics class, or in the evenings have a ping pong tournament. They'll start to see all those different intramural activities. And then if you dive a little bit deeper, you might find some YouTube videos of the cultivated t-shirt that our students love to win in intramural programs. But then you might also see some fun activities where we do, bring in other cultures, bring in food, have guest speakers. And so as you're combing through the student newspaper, our blogs, our YouTube channels, social media channels, you'll start to see all the other activities. So what started with, okay, do they have the athletic sport is my answer. You might stumble upon all the other organizations. And so I'm going to pass it off because in that You may then see how those involvements in your organizations actually lead you to some soft skills to take towards your career goals.
Thank you, Becky. So it is important that after considering all of the other factors that my colleagues have talked about, you also consider what it is that you're looking for as an outcome for your academic career. And that may be, what are your career goals, So it's important for you to find out the resources that the institutions offer so that you can get that experience that you're looking for. So if you're looking for internships or job opportunities, what it is that what you're looking for. You may be looking for summer internships, then it's important for you to see whether the institutions have a place that would give you that job placement or internship placement. A lot of us have career centers and offices that are designed specifically to help you with that. So make sure to find out if we do have the career centers, whether we have international offices that can help you, give you information about OPT hours, about CPT, get connected with social media. You can find out a lot of the students and the experiences that they're going through as well. So the more you connect with individuals and the more you connect with people attending the institutions that you are considering, the better opportunities you're going to get of getting the information that will benefit you in terms of selecting the institutions that will be best for you and the academic program you're looking for.
So this is where we talk about the homework. So we are thinking, we shared so much information, gave you examples of questions and to reflect on and ask yourself, but then also how to start doing the research. So how do you bring it all together? We often see students and it shows in their application that they really understand our universities when they apply, that they have a best fit, that they are showing us that they understand the program they're applying to, that they are more than their academic scores because they have interests and ideas and passions outside that connect. And so we start looking for that. So what we're thinking with this chart, how a lot of students may look at is you would chart the universities you intend to apply on. And then at the top, you would say, okay, what is important to me? What are those questions I want to get at? And so here's an example where we thought weather, because all of us, Nicole, Maria, and I love the weather of the Bay Area. It's nice and cool in the morning, at night, during the day, it's sunny, you can get out and be active. We talked a lot about location. Again, a benefit of the Bay Area is our location has a little bit of everything, but most important, it has food from around the world. So you can eat anything and everything in the Bay Area, but also asking those questions about your residential life and then affordability. So this is just an example. You might have more topics. You might have your major. You might be looking at academic fit, right? But if we click on the sample, here's a Google Doc way for you to organize this. So we're gonna flip screens so we can show you your homework assignment. So here's an example of how we've organized our search. So if I'm a student applying to Berkeley, Stanford, and Santa Clara, if you start to lay out these fit questions, you really start to see how 3 universities that are beautiful in the Bay Area are very, very different. And if a student applied to all 3 of us and didn't understand those differences, their applications are going to come across very different and maybe not well either. And so, for example, you saw a little bit about the size difference between a Berkeley and a Stanford, or maybe the suburban difference of where Stanford is located versus Santa Clara, right? Also the financial aid availability for an international student at a place like Stanford versus Santa Clara versus Berkeley, right? So this really helps you lay out your best fit, the questions and the parts of a university that are most important to you with what the university has to offer. So as you're applying, you really have done that research and that self-reflection. So I hope this is not a homework assignment that should be accomplished in 1 hour. It really might be an ongoing document that you leave open on your tab as you're researching and listening and getting to know universities. And over time, you might delete one whole row because you're like, this university is not a best fit for me, or others that you start to understand is a better fit. So this is a great sample, but it certainly should be something that evolves and looks different. No student on this webinar right now should have the same homework assignment, right? It shouldn't be copied. Everybody is different. And so your list of schools and what's important to you across the top should be different, should be very unique and personalized as well. So that is your homework. I hope it lives with you throughout the college search process the next couple of times, but getting it started now, thinking about it now might really help you set up to start, navigating the 1,000+ universities that are in the United States that may at first feel like a best fit, but as you dive deeper, they may not be. I think we're going to go back to the slides and ask you for another question that Maria is going to guide you on.
Yes, so after we giving you all this information about what it is that fit really is, the question is what parts of the application can best highlight your fit? So you are familiar with the Common App, you are familiar with the UC application system. So whenever we're looking at the application, there's a lot of opportunities for us to really see how and what the student is involved in. So two of the aspects that we look for, we consider the academics, but we all know that academically, you guys are doing excellent, right? You're really good and very strong in terms of keeping up with your work, keeping up with the job, keeping up with all the grades. So the other factors in the application that we really look at, it's the type of activities that you are involved in. What kinds of activities do you participate in? What type of roles do you have within those activities? Are these roles in which you demonstrate leadership? Are these roles that demonstrates the growth that you have done throughout the academic years that you have been in high school? What kinds of things are you involved in, and what do you like to do? The reasons we're looking at all of these activities is to try to see how well you balance your academics with the extracurricular activities, because that is important when you're applying to institutions where a lot of students are doing that in itself. They're excelling not just in their academics, but they're also doing a lot of extracurricular activities within the community, within the surrounding areas of the school, so that they keep, assisting those in need. We also look at the personal insight questions. Now, within the applications, you're going to see that we ask a couple of questions from you. Some of these questions may make reference to leadership opportunities. Some of these questions may make reference to challenging things that you have experienced. All of this is with the whole basis to find out how resourceful the student is. Are you the type of student who gets a little bit upset and anxious because you are experiencing situations that are a little bit out of your control? Or are you the type of student that looks for ways to get out of these challenging situations? Are you the one that would be benefited by looking and finding solutions to problems? Or what type of individual are you? That's the questions we're looking for. That's the answers we're kind of trying to get from the personal insight questions, because we need to see whether or not you will have the resources and the skills available to be able to search through the resources the institutions offer you to be able to succeed. Because remember, the whole aspect for an admissions evaluator to check on the information in the application to make sure that you will be accepted into the institution and you will excel, that you will have the ways and the skills necessary to be able to maneuver the institution, make the best out of the experience, and learn about the different resources that we offer to you so that you can make the best experience and have the best experience possible. Remember, the fit is not just from us to you, but it's also from you to us. You really need to get to know the campuses you're applying to determine whether or not this campus will give you the best resources that you need to get that experience that you're looking for. Okay? And I think this is the last of the slides. So now we're going to open this to questions.
Thank you so much. This is really helpful, and people especially love the document, the spreadsheet. So thank you so much for sharing that. And I think we are going to prepare it to be shared with you after the talk. And so make sure that you are, signed up for Tuesday Talk so you get the email. And if you don't, you can always email me. We will have our contact information up in a second here. So you can always email me if you want that document. We're happy to share it. We just can't share that particular link on this call. So we're going to dive into questions. And I just want to start off with this notion. A lot of the people in our audience are obviously not in the US or not familiar with the 4,000 institutions that are available to them in the US. And a lot of times people kind of go to the rankings first because it's too much to handle. And so I just wanted to put out there, what is a way to kind of, because as we listen to all the possible things that are characterized as fit, I think a lot of people are still concerned about the rankings and the academic rigor of a student being overtaking everything else. And so I don't know if you have any comments about that, or how, in selective admissions, you're able to kind of tease out, yes, you've got strong academics, but also, what are these other things? I know that's kind of a broad question, but if you're able to kind of provide any kind of color.
I could start, and certainly Nicole and Maria can jump in. I think first to remember that as highly selective institutions, when you go to apply to our universities, you are with thousands of others. And so in that application pool, if you are thinking only about rankings and only about your academic achievements, you do look a lot alike to all the thousands of other students who are thinking the same exact way, right? They're thinking about all their A's or top scores, and then they're thinking about, I must apply to the top universities in the United States. And so we get an applicant pool that looks very, very similar. So one way to think about being different and standing out in that application is if you focus on fit, right? If you really understand the university you're applying to, you follow and ask those reflective questions. Most of our applicant pool, I would say at all of our institutions, they're admissible. We can't take all of them. And so we're looking to build a well-rounded class, not a well-rounded individual necessarily. So as we build that class, we're looking for, all of us have computer science. It's very popular on our campuses, but maybe we're looking for that computer scientist who also has a passion for the cello, or has solved a really difficult issue in their town related to deforestation and taking down trees. And they've created an app that says, every time a tree is cut down, please log it, and we're going to plant another tree. And they've gotten, social capital to make sure people are reinvesting in the environment, right? So we're looking for all kinds of students, but I think the students that rise in our applicant pool are ones who stand out and have really thought about themselves and the best fit for the institution that they have researched.
Yeah, I definitely think that was a wonderful answer. I would like to reiterate that that fit is really important, not just to us because we want you to fit on campus, but it's important for us to know that you are going to fit on campus, because ultimately, if you are seeking out the places where you think you're going to thrive, you're probably going to thrive there the most. And it is incredibly crucial for us to know that you are going to be so successful on that campus. And I think that comes out in that fit. And so while looking at the rankings is completely understandable to get an understanding of where you might want to go to school, that fit is just as equally important. And we see that within the application, because when you are finding that fit, you might find that a certain institution that is highly ranked maybe doesn't have the pieces that you personally will not be successful. And as admissions counselors, we can often see that on the application. And it doesn't necessarily mean that your academic rigor wasn't good enough or your passions weren't good enough. It just means that that fit might be somewhere else, and that's also okay. And so I think sifting through that is understanding that your academic rigor, your passions, your strengths are great. It just doesn't mean that they're going to be great at every single place. And so that's why it's so important to sift through where that greatness and where you personally are going to thrive, because that's where you're going to fit in, and that's where you're going to do your best for your future career. And that's not necessarily always at just the top ranked institutions, or maybe it is at some of them, because they're all so different. And so I think asking those questions and being really authentic on your application is going to help you pick places that you're going to fit in, which shows to us. And so when we're reading that application, we really recognize, as Becky said, that you did that homework, but also that you're being honest, that that is a good fit. Because if you're applying to somewhere in the Bay Area and you're like, I just want to live somewhere that's cold and I could go skiing all the time and I'm really passionate about cold weather, it's going to be like, well, hold up, maybe you won't like that here. And that's okay. That's completely fine. But there's so many aspects to fit that we can see that on the application, and it goes just beyond the rankings. So I think that's really important to think about.
One of the additional thing that I would like to highlight, it's the wrong myth that students tend to understand, with what fit is all about. And students are usually with the thinking that in order for you to really be eligible for these highly ranked institutions, you need to be active in 40 different activities besides excelling in all of your academics programs, and we tend to see students who are overachievers, students who are not just getting the straight A's in their IB curriculum or the A levels, but they're also doing additional self-study AP exams because they want to look so good, right? Well, have in mind that academically speaking, the more better you do in the program that you are in, it's good enough for us to demonstrate that you are capable of doing the work. We don't want you expanding the day and participating in 20 different activities if you're going to be putting an hour and an effort there. We would rather, at least we would rather see that you are constantly involved with sustained activities in one or two different activities, that you demonstrate not just leadership, but you also demonstrate passion, that you demonstrate that you're doing that particular activity because you really are involved and engaged in it. And that really demonstrates with the type of individual that you are and the type of goals that you're trying to reach. So just like my colleagues are emphasizing, institutions are not looking for overachievers just because you want to have the numbers. We're looking for individuals who demonstrate passion and their ability to combine their academics with their personal activities and the extracurricular things and still do okay and still be able to succeed, because we know that at the institutions, the academic curriculum may be really challenging, but we want you to still be able to have the skills and resources to find additional opportunities to be able to balance that out. Okay.
Thank you so much. And I think, we are talking to three really great institutions, very selective institutions. And so there is definitely some, you do have to consider the academics. The academics are important. This filter, this funnel that you're trying to have as admissions officers is, you're going to have this cream of the crop people here. And so I do want to say to the students out there, like, yes, academics is very important. But, at InitialView, we always talk about life is not a test. And so you want to talk, I think you want, and, correct me if I'm wrong, admissions officers, are there, like, I would talk to a student. I would talk to a current student who's in the midst of the rigor that is at your school, because then you can kind of tell, not only is it like a high test score, but it's actually some kind of rigor that you're experiencing as a student, that the classes are really hard. There's a lot of homework. There's a lot of, and then see how that makes you feel. If that sounds stressful to you, then maybe it's not the best fit. So I guess, and there are some questions here about, like, how do I know, what, for example, how can I learn about school spirit? How can I learn about these things that I'm not able to experience because I'm not at your campuses? So do you have any advice on how to kind of find out that feeling, or that, what would it be like to be on campus?
I think it starts with students and not being bashful. Many of us have ways for you to connect with students. And so whether that is a platform, we have something called Bronco Exchange where students can talk to students. Others may have a general email account that students, we all hire students in our offices too. We have WeChat accounts, or, so I really think if you really want to investigate those important things, you need to hear from students, not just admission counselors or websites. Do hear it from students.
And that is totally true. A lot of most of our institutions have social media, platforms that you can connect to. Our students are always posting things about the games that they're attending, the activities they're working on, the internships they're so much involved in, so that you get that experience exactly directly from the students and the people who are living that.
I also think it's important to not, it can be incredibly overwhelming to begin that search process and try to figure out where that fit is. And so to just break it down and kind of not let that take over too much, and let your body and your instincts and that experience and that exploration give you those answers, and don't try to find it right away, because you can talk to different institutions and look at the websites and just let yourself feel it out. Don't feel like you have to go look at one institution and be like, oh, this is it or this isn't it. Like, you will start to feel through that process being pulled one way or another at these institutions, and really trust that process as you start to look into those, and not put too much pressure on yourself to find that perfect fit right away, because through the exploration process is how you're going to find that.
Nicole, that's such a good point. And I would say, don't assume you can find it in one summer, that as you head into this holiday break, you may discover and have that moment of, oh, this is how I learn best next fall in your final year of high school as you're applying, right? And you really, or maybe on our supplemental questions as you're adding to Common App the schools that you're applying to, and one of the universities asks you to reflect, why are you applying to us? And then you have that moment of, oh, I can write this answer very easily because I've done the research, right? So I think Nicole it is a process. It's not a homework assignment that's going to be accomplished right away.
We only have a few more minutes, and there are a lot of questions. So I want to really encourage everybody. Some of these questions about, awards, competitions, extracurriculars, I would go to last week's Tuesday talk. We talked about extracurriculars and how to showcase some of your passions and things through that. And I would also encourage you to go back to our archives and look for the talk about soft skills, because that is also a great one to give you some tangible ways to think about things outside of the grades and the scores. Now, there are a few questions about testing and such. And so I don't know if anybody wants to kind of give updates on testing and whether or not how much that plays into kind of your process in finding academic fit.
I guess all of our institutions here are test blind. We are not considering the exams any longer as factors of the application process. So you guys are, set free. You don't have to take the examinations. However, if you do decide to get them and submit them on the application, we will use them to the benefit. Some of the campuses may use them to satisfy some of the residential requirements, like the entry level writing proficiency exam. But once again, you are not mandated or required to complete any of the examinations.
And I would just say, when we say we're test optional, test blind, test flexible, we mean it. So don't try and say or find, well, do they really, is this one time I took a score gonna be the reason I get a scholarship or not? No, we are looking at, when we say it and we have our statements, we really do mean it. There is so much more to a student's application that we are looking, that we are reading, that we are comparing in our pools than test scores. Then that's SAT and ACT scores. We may look at your predicteds, we may look at your A levels, we may be looking at other tests, but as far as SAT and ACT, we really are not looking at those when you ask us not to.
Well, and as a reminder to everybody on Tuesday Talks, every institution is looking at different things, and we've talked about holistic reviews so many times. And so we just want to kind of really encourage you all to remember that this process, these admissions officers, they're professionals, they're experienced, and they're looking at they understand the context and what is available to you. We're doing this work for Tuesday Talk so that we can connect and understand each other's cultures better and understand the environments better. And so keep that in mind as you are putting together your application. And I know it's really stressful, but we're all here to support. We are going to send you more information as it goes by. That document is going to be shared, so don't worry, you'll get that. And as always, please reach out if you have any questions. We're going to talk more about FIT next week. Actually, the next Tuesday Talk, we're going to continue this conversation and have even more resources for you. So don't forget to log in next week at this time. Nicole, Becky, Maria, thank you so much for taking the time, waking up so early to talk to us. It's been fun being together this morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you are. Take care.